This particular model is a 1.6 IS 5-door with metallic paint. This one has the benefit of having air conditioning on it. If you went to a main dealer for this particular model, it would probably cost you circa £14,500 to £15,000. That's what its recommended retail price would be.
And you're selling this for?
We've got this one up at £13,000, or just a pound short of. It's delivery mileage. It is on a T-reg, as obviously at the moment the V's have been out obviously for around about 1 month so far, but this is a pre-registered vehicle on a T-plate, so it's a saving of approximately up to £2,000.
So where do you source these cars from?
This particular one, in all honesty, we have actually brought in from Ireland, so it's a Republic of Ireland vehicle. Sometimes there is a slight difference on specification, but they always conform to the EU anyway, so there's no problem then for servicing or warranty issues, and the cars are virtually the same.
The specification is almost identical, and there are no other downsides. Do you still get the same warranty and all the benefits and the guarantee that you'd expect?
Certain manufacturers do have a downside to the warranties. Some of them will actually, where you might buy the vehicle over here, could have 3 years. If you buy them at a Republic of Ireland vehicle, may only get 1 year. What you can look at that is an extended warranty can only cost you £200, and yet you can be saving £2,000 on the vehicle, so you can still be £1,800 in front. We do very, very well with them. Obviously, we do sell the vehicles on price. It's exactly what we're here for.
And of course with the Golfs, they're just so well built and so reliable.
Volkswagen are renowned for the build quality. Obviously, even in the previous model going into this one, they're very, very good. They're very safety conscious, the Germans. But in all fairness, they are under increasing pressure from other manufacturers. When we revert back to something like the Ford Focus, the actual build quality on that is far, far higher than what it was on the Escorts. So as much as they've led the way, they've just got to keep on top now, because the other manufacturers are getting far, far more safety conscious.
Now perhaps the key thing, if you were choosing between the Golf and the Focus, is residual values in 3 or 4 years' time when you come to change it down the line. How is that going to hold up, and what will the difference, do you think, be, and which is the better car to buy?
Hard to say. What you've got with the Ford Focus, because it's literally only been out 6 or 7 months, it's very, very hard to actually get a grip of what the residual values are going to be. They do seem to keep good money in such a short time. Now, Volkswagen have an excellent reputation. They are a slightly dearer product up front, but there again, you do obviously retain that when you come to sell the vehicle because of the residual value. When you're looking at these two cars head to head, specification-wise and money-wise, the Ford Focus would actually win. It is the slightly later model into the market, and it does look a radical car, and it's very, very good. If it comes to putting your own money in it, very, very honestly, I think the Volkswagen might have the stronger edge in, I would say, in a 3-year turn cycle. I think you might find that the Volkswagen has slightly the upper hand on value, but only slightly.
Now, this latest incarnation of the Volkswagen Golf was introduced some 2 years ago, in October 1997, and this is affectionately known as the Mark IV Golf. Golfs have been around such a long time, and again it's a car that we've taken to in the UK, particularly models like the GTI range. This is the 1.6S. As we've already mentioned, this is a brand new car. It's only done just over 40 miles, but it's some £2,000 less than list price. This also has air conditioning on as an extra. What you do find though in the Golf range is that they're more basic. There's less equipment inside as standard. Air conditioning, as I've just mentioned, is not standard. We've got this on this particular model, but on something like the Focus 1.6 gear, it is standard. You get a quality stereo system in that as well. You do get a stereo system in this, but no CD changer, no electric windows. You get dual airbags in this. And altogether, it just feels a very, very solid, reliable car. You know it's been well engineered. Now, driving-wise, the criticism of the latest Golf is that they've been made a bit soft, particularly on models like the new GTIs. And I think that's a fair point, because it certainly doesn't feel as good to drive as the Focus does. The steering is less precise, less accurate. It tends to roll around a bit more in corners than the Focus does, which is quite surprising really, considering how good Golfs have been in the past. Again, in the Golf range, good choice of engines, 1.4, 1.6, 1.8, the 1.8 GTIs, the 1.8 turbo GTIs, there's a 2.3 V5 and two 1.9 diesel models, a non-turbo and a turbo diesel. Insurance groups are pretty reasonable, and again, fuel consumption all round in the range is very good too. Something like this 1.6S will get you easily 40 miles to the gallon. So will you find a Mark IV Golf cheap? Well, the honest answer to that is no, because Volkswagen Golfs hold their value very well, as the Volkswagen range does in general. If you looked around for, say, the base introductory 1.4 model, well, you might find an early example from 2 years ago for about £10,500, but certainly not much less than that. And considering that that only cost about £13,000 new, you can see just how well the values of the Golfs are holding up. So what about interior space on these two cars? Well, the Focus, first of all, Ford have actually been very clever because they've produced a small to medium-sized hatchback car with bags of room for 5 people. 5 adults would very easily sit in this car. Plus you get 3 rear proper seat belts as well, which is excellent. What about boot space on the Focus? Well, you need the key to open it, the boot, a couple of zaps, and again, bags of luggage space in the back of the Focus. On the Golf, well, it's a similar sort of size to the Focus, perhaps not quite as much legroom and perhaps not quite as comfortable. The seats are a bit firmer in the Golf, and it feels a little bit more cramped than the Focus. Good amount of headroom back there for somebody like me who's 6 foot or so. And boot space on the Golf, well, perhaps slightly bigger than the Focus. So, which of these two cars would be our choice? Which would we recommend to you? Well, if you're rather conservative with a small C, that is, you'd probably go towards the Golf, because you've had a Golf before, you've liked it, it's been safe, it's been solid, it's been reliable, and the residuals are rock solid. It looks like the Golfs from the past as well. It's not very well equipped at the end of the day. You do have to pay for all the little extras, which you don't quite as much have to do if you go towards something like the Ford Focus. This is a 1.6 gear and it's got all the toys on it. The Focus is also unmistakably the better car to drive. So if we had to pay 11, 12, 13,000 pounds for cars, which would we go for? Well, for £11,500, I'd go for this Focus 1.6 gear.